While I was cleaning around the house, I found these old pair of sneakers that I really enjoyed wearing at some point. They were not torn or broken, just old and ugly, mostly due to discoloration of the fabric. I had two choices: throw them away or try to make them look better, so I decided to give them a chance. I'm Max from LifeHackerMax and I want to show you how I revived my old pair of sneakers. Gave them a new look so I could wear them just a little bit longer. First of all, this video is not an artistic one. It doesn't require a well-developed sense of creativity. It's more like a draw between the lines hack. So don't worry if you think you don't have that artistic skill. You can still do this. It's an easy process that doesn't take that much time and can do wonders for your old shoes, no matter if you want to save some money, like a certain pair of shoes so much that you don't have the heart to throw them away, or simply because you are in search of a weekend project. Now, the key element to this hack is this marker right here. This is not just a simple marker, it's an acrylic paint marker that has a reservoir filled with acrylic paint that gets released into the tip when you press it firmly on a surface. In my opinion, the easiest way to paint. You don't have to combine the paint with water to get the right consistency. You don't have to wash any paintbrush when you're done. You just pop the cap, do the job, and when you're finished, you put the cap back on, and that's it. And the best part is that it works on most surfaces. It dries fast and the paint is UV and water resistant, which means it works on outdoor projects as well, like painting shoes and such. You can also refill it and change the tip when needed. For this project I will use the 2mm and 4 to 8mm markers from Molotow. You can find links in the description if you want to check them out. But honestly, the 2mm marker alone will do the job wonderfully. This is my first time experience with painting shoes, so I'm not exactly sure how they will perform over time. I have been wearing the shoes for more than a month now and I'm pretty satisfied with the outcome so far. I will show you how they look after a month of wearing them, what I learned while painting them, what worked and what didn't. And I will be making updates down in the description to let you guys know how well they withstand in terms of time. If you have experience with these types of projects before, please leave me a comment and share your experience with us. Tell us what markers you use for painting shoes and how well they perform over time. Maybe you wish to recommend a different technique or have some advice that might help me and others with our shoe painting projects. And if you are new to this channel, be sure to subscribe and browse around my videos as I'm making all sorts of hacks, repairs and experiments that might be interesting to watch. My main goal for this project was not to make some artsy custom shoes, but more to cover the washed up colors with some fresh paint. What makes this project so easy is that I'm only following the patterns that already exist on the shoes, and those patterns are sewn on the shoes on different layers, so they are pretty easy to follow without messing anything up. As I said before, like drawing inside the lines. And I have another example right here where I used the same pattern following method on an all-white shoe to give it a new look. But let's get back to the project at hand. I started out by washing them with water and soap to clean the dirt off and degrease the surfaces. There are professional products, tools and specific steps to be taken if you want to properly clean your shoes, but to be honest, I didn't have the patience to go that deep into the rabbit hole with researching. And also, I didn't want to spend any money on this project. So, water and soap it is. I left everything to dry out for a full day and then I started painting. I used the big marker on large surfaces, which helped with covering the area a bit faster. I mostly did 2 passes on each section because I mostly painted on suede, which absorbs the paint much better than the leather imitation. Also, when I started painting, I didn't realize that my marker was almost empty. I have been using it for some time now on other projects, so if you see me struggle to paint some areas, that's because I was running low on paint in my marker. Talk about professional. The tricky part was to paint the edges of each section without leaving paint on the material next to it. I found it useful to bend the material. This will create a gap between the two sections, making it easier to paint the edges without making a mess. However, I did mess up a few times. If this happens, you can use some wet wipes to clean it up or a wet cloth. But do it fast because once the paint dries, it will be hard to remove if not impossible. The tip of my marker got ruined on this project due to the rough surface of the shoes. If this happens, you can pull it from the marker and turn it around. On the 2mm marker, both ends are the same, so you can use it twice before it needs to be replaced. The same applies to the 4/8mm marker. Pull the tip out, turn it around, and boom, you have a fresh new tip. I painted the outsole of the shoe more like an experiment. Because of the rubbery material, I expect the paint not to hold that well. This material doesn't absorb the paint, so it's more like an overcoat that once scratched, it will reveal the yellowish white color underneath. For this reason, I intentionally gave the soles an old scratched look, so when they do get scratched, they will appear to be this way by design. I did this by washing the surface with a dish sponge and plain water right after the paint dried a little. Anyway, I figured if they do end up looking really bad, I can always use my trusted marker to fix them again. I tried to use masking tape to separate the sole from the shoe, which didn't work that well for me. The paint got under the tape, so I ended up painting that area very carefully without masking it. The reason might be that the tape I used was not appropriate for this type of project. Maybe a different tape will perform better. So don't discard the masking tape just because it didn't work for me. Feel free to experiment yourself and let us know if you get better results. On the heel of the shoe, because the logo is debossed, I managed to paint everything and still preserve it without too much of a hassle. I just painted around the logo using the side of the marker tip. And because the logo is lowered a little, it ended up fine. I guess I was lucky on this one, because if the logo would have been painted or embossed, I don't think I could have done the job so well. After I finished painting, I also used a waterproofing solution, hoping that this will protect the new paint and make it last just a little bit longer. To sum things up, I spent about 2–2.5 hours on each shoe, so 4 to 5 hours of painting. On this project, I painted on 3 different materials: suede, leather imitation, and the rubbery soles. And as expected, the paint didn't do so well on the soles. I wouldn't recommend painting the outsoles unless you are willing to refresh them with a new coat of paint every 2 weeks or so. Other than that, I would say this project was a success. The marker doesn't leave any lines. The paint has a uniform look, like they were black from the factory. You can't really tell they were refurbished. I really like the way they turned out. The paint seemed to be performing very well so far, unless you count the soles. Also, the project was therapeutic, and if I can get one more season from my new old shoes, I can definitely say this is a great weekend project. If this video was useful to you, please consider using the new and revolutionary Super Thanks option, or become a Patreon using the link in the description. This helps me create more videos in the future. I'm Max from LifeHackerMax, and I hope this video will help you guys save some money or at least inspire you to do something crafty for this weekend. Thank you for watching.